I was hired as an idea man for Walt Disney, which is one thing I'm very proud to say. Because how many people were idea men? Maybe he had hundreds of them, I don't know, but that was my title, idea man. And I don't have to tell you, I was there 30 years. When I started, I said, I'm going to stay 2 years. That's long enough. I want to go and hit the big New York advertising agencies. And I'm very happy that I stayed. It was 1953, and it was about a year before Mary Poppins, Davy Crockett. Oh, go on and on and on. I can't think of them all right now, but I worked on every one of them. When you say you worked on a movie, you didn't work on a movie to make the movie. You worked on the promotion of the movie. We had to come up with toys and ideas for the movie. And then it would be promoted, and you had to be on the counters about when the movie was running. You had to be on the counters really about a couple of months before the movie broke. And if you weren't on the counters, you missed it. This is my business sense now. You blew it. And we blew it with Mary Poppins wristwatch. I designed it, and the U.S. time was late. They never got it on the market until after the picture was fading away. So I went through all those things, and it was interesting. The studio in New York on Madison Avenue had 6 artists, 5 really, 5. Maybe I was the 6th one. And started at a bullpen and all this stuff. The only difference was that I had the right from the beginning, to leave the studio anytime I wanted to go to a museum, go to an art gallery, go to a toy store, to stimulate me. And because you don't get ideas sitting at a desk and looking at a wall. And they knew that. So I could go out anytime I wanted. And I took advantage of that. And if I found something that I think could have been Disney, I'd buy it, they'd reimburse me, and before you know it, I'd make a sketch. I don't know, I can't remember one in particular right now. Maybe it was a pencil sharpener. I designed pencil sharpeners. They were done in a real pencil sharpener, and they were done in ceramics, all kinds of things. And we worked, the good part is that we worked in every medium that you could think of. The lunch park was made by a company in Aladdin Industries, and they were a licensee, and I did not sign them up. I did leave a lot out. I signed up GE for the night lights. I signed up Hasbro for toys, a lot of toys. But getting back to the lunchbox, we were doing some lunch boxes for them, Mickey Mouse, whatever it was, I don't know. And I was commuting from Pleasantville, New York, where my home was, where you saw that picture on the wall. And, I said to myself, you know what? Nobody's used a school bus. And then I said, well, gee, maybe kids wouldn't want to be reminded about school, because we all hate school, you know. And I got back to when I got from Pleasantville, New York to Grand Central Station. Do you know New York? I could walk to my office. We were on Madison Avenue, 50th Street, I think. And I started to sketch school bus. And if you remember the Workman school box with the dome on it? That's the one I used. And made it, and they presented it to, and no question about it, they were going to go ahead with it. And they did. And they sold 9 million. 9 million of them. $7 a piece. It's a lot of money. Walt was in Burbank, and he was getting ready to start Walt Disneyland. And I went through all of that with Mary Poppins, the movies I mentioned before, and Disneyland. And he would come to New York maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And he'd visit our studio, look at the stuff we were doing. God, he was so nice. He remembered people so well. He'd say Al right away, you know. He was a great guy. I don't have to tell you about him because we all know how great he was. 1953, we opened up Disneyland. 1955. So those 2 years that I was there was so exciting. We had Happiest Millionaire. We had 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Everything broke at once. Mickey Mouse Club, The World of Color, you know, everything. It was the most exciting time to be at Disney. And I happened to be there. So I feel like I contributed to the success too. And he was a better businessman than people think. You know, they give his brother all the credit for the business. And he was the great. He didn't care about money. He'd sell his house to build a train or something. That's the way he was. Working for Disney was like a religion, and it gets into your blood. And I said, it's still in my blood. Anyway, I worked on Pez. I said, we got to have Pez. And the man who was the head of Pez, he wanted a license so bad. I didn't have any trouble selling him. But Disney was a little bit, I don't know why, but they weren't ready, you know. But every time I talked to my boss about Pez, he never got excited. But we finally got Pez in. I got him in. And he was very happy to get it. And they're still selling Pez. So Disney is getting royalties on my efforts from 20 or 30 years ago. Makes me feel good. But it led to something else. Have you remember the Pez thing with the Mickey and Donald on top? I have my secretary call up GE. We researched it to find out who you talked to. I found out there was a guy by the name of Al Richards. And he was in charge of that area, whatever it was. And they had a little nightlight. It was about like that you plug in a wall, like a half a watt or a watt. And I made a deal. I called them up and I said, come up to Providence or he'll come to New York. Well, they all love to come to New York, so most of the time we'd get them down in New York and then put them in our conference room and try to get him to be a licensee. So anyway, he comes down, and I have a beautiful office out there on Madison Avenue. I had more windows than I have here in my office. They were trying to make me feel good, I guess. I don't know, but it was nice. So he comes in. I said, nice to meet you, Al. I said, oh, excuse me, Mr. Richards. Anyway, sits down. And I said, you know, I don't know if this will work or not, but we're going to try it. So I pulled down the blinds in my nice office on Madison Avenue and turn out the lights. But before I do that, I take his little nightlight with that, you know, that little half watt or 2 watts, whatever it is, and I break off the Donald Duck head off the Pez. And I snap it on. Never tried it before. I snapped it on. I said, I hope this works. And I plugged it in the wall. That was the Disney nightlights.